Hello, and welcome to Praying with Broken Hearts, Spirituality for Difficult Times. I'm Father Joseph, and this is session 9, Praying Our Pain. Now, just as anger and sadness are kind of signals, well, something's not right, something's wrong, something's up, so too is pain. Pain is literally our body's signals that something isn't right, that something needs to be looked at or fixed. And yet, there are also times in our lives when there's nothing we can do about that physical pain, that we'll just experience that for a long time. We feel our limitations, and depending on what kind of pain we're dealing with, we might feel very self-conscious about it, that it hurts to do this, and that we wish that it didn't. Pain brings up a lot of emotions with it. So pain might be in our bodies, but it's also in our minds, and it's in our hearts. We experience it throughout our whole human being. And again, what was it like when you were growing up? How did you talk about pain? Was there anybody in your family or in your circle of friends who had like maybe a chronic pain or a chronic illness or injury? What was it like? How did you talk about it? Some families kind of have a sense of shame around pain, that you should just be tough enough to handle it. Or maybe other families, that was where you got attention. If like people would rally around you in that experience of pain. What was it like? Pain is another universal thing, and we experience it, and other people experience it. So think about how you perceive other people's pain. What do you do when they're in pain? What's comforting to you? What's comforting to them? Do you want someone just to sit next to you, or do you want them to talk? Maybe it changes based on how long the pain's gone on. Maybe at the beginning you'd like to talk about it, but after so long it's just sit with me. Please sit with me. This doesn't feel good, but just sit with me. Let me know that I'm not alone. Many of us know the story of Job in the Bible. Now, oftentimes Job is described as patient, which tells me that anybody who describes Job as patient has never read the book of Job. Job was not a patient person. Most of the book of Job is him explaining how it's unjust what he's experiencing, and then his friends trying to say, no, you deserved it. And that's the most frustrating thing for anybody who experiences pain or physical illness, or even mental health illnesses. It's so wrong when people say, well, you did something to deserve it. That's not the point. The point is that we're in pain and we need human compassion. When someone else is in pain, they also need human compassion. It's not about any right or wrong, deserving or undeserving. It's simply that we experience pain, and in that moment, we need love. And doubly so, if it's a kind of illness or pain or injury that just isn't going to go away. In those moments, we really need that love. We think also about how Jesus endured pain on the cross. Countless generations have looked to the cross, to a crucifix, and thought, Jesus experienced pain just like me. That Jesus knows what it's like. And in fact, some of the more grotesque crucifixes or depictions of the cross throughout the centuries had that in mind. It wasn't really out of a sense of we need to make it look really bad, but we needed it to reflect the pain and suffering of those who are in pain, who are suffering. So think about depictions of the cross that you've seen. How do they reflect the pain and suffering of the time? How do they reflect that experience, that human experience? How did the artist capture it in that moment to say, God suffered just like one of us? That is, truth be told, the most profound part of Christianity. That Jesus, God incarnate, endured what we endured pain, and endured death. Jesus lived the worst of our human experiences. And so in the worst of our own experiences, we are not alone, we are not unknown, we are not abandoned. So if you are experiencing pain, if you are experiencing it, maybe not in your body, but maybe in your heart or your mind, take Psalm 22, the same one that Jesus is starting with on the cross. That right there is one of the most profound pieces of scripture around suffering. It goes from a sense of abandonment to hope. And that even if in that moment we don't feel quite hopeful, we can at least say the words and put ourselves right at the cross with Jesus. And Jesus is right there on our own experience of the cross. See you next time.